So next we have Dr. Adwoa Danso talking about organ donation as a recipient, and then to the organ donor as well as organ donor champions.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Adwoa Danso. Apologies for coming on very late. I've just finished up at clinic, so I did manage to get the ends of a couple of talks, and they really were quite moving, actually. I thought I would just start off by saying a little bit about myself. So, yeah, I'm a GP working in Essex. I'm also an organ donor recipient. And I think I just kind of start by talking a little bit about how that came to play and what's happened with myself. So I have always been very fit and well. I've always been very, very healthy, like many others have said with their stories. Up until I was about 16, and I started to have a lot of blurred vision. And I put it down to lots of studying and revision. So anyway, my mum took me to the GP, who referred me to see an ophthalmologist and eye specialist. And all I was told was that I had misshapen eyes. I didn't really know much more about that, but I was going to clinics quite frequently, and then I was discharged from the clinic, didn't think much else. I just needed to wear glasses. And then anyway, I got into medical school, started medical school. And by about third year, fourth year, I was struggling with glasses. I was struggling to see the slides on the PowerPoint presentation that were being given. And so I thought, okay, perhaps I need a prescription change of my glasses. So I went to a local chemist near where I was living, optician, not chemist, optician, and he looked quite alarmed. He told me he was quite new, so he wasn't sure what it was, but he knew I needed to see somebody. So I was referred to Moorfields, and I didn't hear anything else. I didn't have an appointment, was never seen again. But then my vision was deteriorating, so I chased it up, and then eventually I was seen. And I was told that at this point, I had something called keratoconus, which is a sort of a coning shape of the eyeballs, which distorts vision. Again, I wasn't really told it was anything too serious, but it could be corrected with glasses. So that was that. By now, I was wearing a different prescription of glasses, and I was working. And now I was a junior doctor. So it was my first year as a junior doctor on the wards. And as some of you may know, lots of discharge letters. And this particular day, I was writing a discharge letter, and my consultant walked past, and he said, "Are you okay, Adwoa?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just doing a discharge letter." And then he just said, "You're sitting very, very close to the computer with glasses on again, and you're squinting. I don't think you should be squinting and being so close to the computer." And he said, "You know what, there's an ophthalmologist that's my friend that works in the same hospital that I was working with. Why don't you go and see him?" And I was a little bit embarrassed, if I'm quite honest. And I didn't really know what to do and how to kind of take that. So anyway, I did go and see him. And again, it was found that my keratoconus was deteriorating. So then I was referred back to Moorfields. At my first appointment, I was told that you're going to need a corneal transplant, but we're not sure when, so you may have to wait some time. Again, I didn't really understand the severity and what this actually meant. For me, I felt like I was okay. I felt like I could see okay with glasses, but it's only later I realised that no, actually I wasn't managing. And 2 or 3 years later, the decision was made that I needed to have a corneal transplant, and I underwent a corneal transplant during my GP training, and I was off for about 3 or 4 months recovering. Now, even after that, I still didn't really understand what this meant as a doctor. I didn't really understand that I had a bit of somebody else in me. I didn't understand that. And it only was several years later, I think when I started working as a GP, I realized what that actually meant. And I think because it happened for me quite quickly, there wasn't really a weight. It didn't feel like a weight to me. I didn't really, and I want to say, I'll be honest, I didn't really appreciate what had happened. I didn't really appreciate that somebody had given me a piece of them. So from that point onwards, especially when you're seeing patients that are waiting for transplants and you're managing them and you're speaking to them, I felt incredibly lucky. And I also felt like I hadn't appreciated the moment when it happened. So at that point, I decided that I'm going to be a champion for organ donation. And I'm going to really try and tell everybody and anybody that meets me that, do you know that this has happened to me and that this could happen to somebody else? And this could happen to any one of us at any point. And that moment again became slight reality again. So over the bank holiday in August, I've had no complications since my transplant, but over the bank holiday weekend, I woke up with a sudden acute red eye in my transplant eye, and all the feelings, all the emotions came back, and I was just thinking, it's rejecting. And that was my only thought about, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with work? What's going to happen with family? What am I going to do? And I realized I didn't have any of that before, but I had everything now. Thankfully, all the checks were okay. There was no signs of rejection. It was just a really nasty eye infection, and everything was clear, but it just brought back all those feelings. And I think when I speak to people, particularly my friends, they didn't know, a lot of them didn't know that I had a transplant and I was a recipient. And I always say, I asked them, would you donate your organs? And the answer is sometimes no. But I said, but would you donate it if it was for me? Then it's yes. It's very different. I think the idea for some people is very difficult because they don't know who it will go to. And also I think the cultural reasons, which I think some may already have touched on, the idea of giving someone your eyes or part of your eye is something that can be a difficult thing culturally, spiritually for many people. But that's my story. And since then, I try and do a lot of things for championing organ donation and making sure that people understand that it's literally changed my life and given me vision to be able to do some incredible things. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to be a GP if I didn't have to undergo this surgery, and I wouldn't be able to do half of the things that I'm able to do. And I think for many, corneas may not, I definitely didn't have as complex a surgery as some of the surgeons that Dr. Fernando was mentioning. So that gift is so precious for somebody like me, and it may be in the future that I may have to undergo another transplant. But I just think we have to keep this conversation going and keep sharing stories, because as it's been said, stories are what touch people's hearts. Yeah, that's me.